Hello, my friends. Andy at the Andy Falco Show, coming to you live from California at 7 o'clock on a Friday. And this show is not what I planned. I had a completely different show planned, but my neighbor, who may be on now, sent me a text message that just pissed me off to no end. And I'm sure he's going to come on here in any second. And I must have missed it. I went out shooting with my son today, my 14-year-old son, and we were shooting shotguns. We're preparing for Antifa and the rest of the people that are going to be coming to a neighborhood near you. I have some intel, and I can't give it all to you because it may give away who I heard it from, and I promise I wouldn't say anything. But I'm just telling you, there's something coming up with BLM, Antifa. Hollywood elites are funding these groups with billions. Well, I'm not sure about billions. How about millions of dollars? I have great intel that says that many of these people are riding in luxurious buses to different areas of our country, being dropped off. And we saw in New York where bats were being dropped off to these peaceful protesters. Right? We keep hearing that they're peaceful protesters, that the thugs, the federal thug police are injuring. And so I have a whole other thing that I was planning on doing, and I thought about it all day. I was ready, prepared to do it. And then David sends me a text message that says that today our moron Governor Newsom, who needs to just, I don't know, they need to be arrested. I don't understand. And I've been thinking about this, and I've been in law enforcement for a very long time. I have been involved in some pretty interesting cases in the news. You would not know it because we can't, I can't tell people, what cases I'm involved in, that kind of stuff, and investigating the wrong or right doing of right. Can you do right doing? There's wrongdoing. Can you do right doing? I guess you can. If there's wrongdoing, there's got to be right doing of law enforcement across not only California, not only across the United States, but also in Canada. I've investigated many crimes. And I don't understand, because when you are part of a conspiracy of causing chaos, causing criminal activity that causes death, like what happened in Seattle, right? You have a mayor who made a decision to allow Chaz Chapistan to be present. You told the police not to enforce any laws, and the police were forced to leave their police station. And then you supported this chaos, and people died. I'm really not sure why the mayor cannot be arrested for conspiracy to commit murder. I don't see why that's not possible. Cuomo, the same thing. Thousands of people died because he purposefully, not accidentally, not because he followed Donald Trump's direction, not because he followed CDC direction, not because of anything. He's blaming other people, but that's what criminals do. They blame other people. He made the decision to put COVID-19 infected patients of the most vulnerable sorts, senior citizens, into nursing homes with healthy people of senior citizen age, and killed thousands of people. Why these people cannot be charged at this time, and why they're not being charged, I'm not sure. And then my purpose for my original show, which I will probably come back on and do tomorrow or Sunday, has to do with something I heard. I'll play the video if I can find it, of this just complete idiot that's on Fox every so often. I can't even stand hearing her voice. She has a voice. Like, what is it about Democrats and liberals that are just obnoxiously horrible, nasty people? And then on top of it, you either have their face or their voice that just totally, right. I know I'm going off the direction here, because I know there's probably an attractive Democrat out there somewhere. I've not seen one, but I'm guessing that there is. I think they're just ugly because they're just stupid and evil and ugly and dumb. I think that's where I'm going. All right. So just to make a blanket statement. And I have friends that are Democrats, and I go, God, you are so smart. At least I used to think you're so smart. How could you be following this crap that's going on, and supporting it and saying it's okay, and then making up this other crap that just doesn't make any sense? But anyway, she made a statement today. Well, Biden has never said to defund. Biden has never said that he's for injuring cops. They don't have to say it. Do you think Nancy Pelosi is going to say, hey, I want you all to injure cops? They are supporting the injury of cops. They are supporting the killings of cops by their policies, their attitudes towards BLM, their attitudes towards the rioters, their attitudes towards Antifa. They don't need to say, hey, I want you to go out there and injure and harm cops. They are supporting them. They are saying it's okay. They're creating these autonomous zones in Seattle, in Washington, D.C., in Minneapolis, in New York. And that alone is supporting the injury of cops, of defunding and dismantling law enforcement. He doesn't have to say it. He's got AOC on, and I'm talking about Biden. He has AOC on his staff for his reelection. How you cannot have AOC on your staff for reelection and not be for defunding, and you can't do it. It's impossible because he is just a vessel. He is not even he's barely an alive human being, and he's got there. So I'm gonna come back to that because I'm gonna get off and I'm gonna start talking too much about it, and I have some stuff for that. But this notion that Governor Newsom has that we cannot open our schools is just based on bullshit, to tell you the truth. And there's nothing. They keep saying they're following the science. They are not. If they're following the science, as the title of my broadcast says, if they're following the science, then they would open the schools. If they were following the science, they wouldn't make masks mandatory. There is nothing. And I know people are going to say, no, well, you're crazy. The science. No, Dr. Fauci has been wrong more than he's been right. They all have. And I'm going to come back to some stuff. And those of you that are watching, just feel free to comment. I know people are afraid to comment because they don't want their employer to find out because they'll be fired. I know that it's happening. I've been told. I've been sent messages. Well, I would write a comment, but somebody might find out that I'm watching your show, and then I might get fired. And then there's people that message me and say, I was Democrat, but thank God I've been watching your show because it made me realize how dumb I was being. And I read some of the articles you posted. I clicked on some of the links. I did some of my own, and you are right. And so I'm now no longer Democratic. I'm not voting Democrat. So anyway, so the science is not, there's nothing out there in the science that says that these masks work. They say they can help a little bit, but in many cases that it can actually make problems worse. You got studies out of Korea now. You got studies out of Australia. You got studies out of Ireland. You got studies out of Germany who have their in Netherlands and more. There's studies all over the place saying when they sent the children back to school, the curve actually went down. And one of the reasons why the curve goes down is because what Germany says in their study is that the children are a block for the virus, that the virus stops at them. I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm going to hopefully I bring up the right one now. Gosh darn it. Let me look really quick. Again, because I changed this so quickly, I got to go to I'm transitioning very quickly here. And so I want to make sure. And I didn't even talk about my sponsors. Somewhere in the middle of this broadcast, somebody remind me to talk about my sponsors. And those of you that are watching, I can see there's more than Amy watching. I can see you're watching. I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Twitter, and I'm on Twitch, and I can see you're watching and nobody's commenting. Everybody's afraid. You need to comment and say, and I know some of them are the people that are going to call me an a-hole later on, or a dickwad, or that I'm stupid or whatever. But I'm telling you, that if you are following the science, you would open up the schools, you would not keep them closed. So here we go. Let me make sure I'm hitting the wrong one here, the right one here. And bam. Oh, good. This is Australia. All right. Again, I bring up different studies because the last one I brought up was Germany. It was a fantastic study. And I'm not just going to go all the way to the bottom, and I'll put the link. Let me copy the link first. Here, let me copy this first. I'm going to come back. I'm going to get rid of my lower third just so you can see it. And I'm going to make it full screen. And then I'm going to go to comments and put in the link so you can click on it yourself and read the whole thing. I'm just going to go down to the bottom where you always get your conclusions. I wrote a scientific paper some years ago, and it's in the end where you get all the information. You can read all the stuff at how they did it and what they looked at and how many people they did this, that, and the other thing too. But in the end, you want the conclusions. What were the conclusions? And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to zoom down here. And because of one of the things, I'm going to come back to my camera here for just 1 second. I'm sorry. I got y'all excited for a second. But one thing I'm going to come and let you know is the one thing that they keep bringing up, right? We know through all these other tests, we know that children, and we know even prior to this, we know that the children have not been getting sick by COVID-19? Yes, there's been a couple. Yes, but at some point you're going to find out that they had some type of pre-existing condition that made them more susceptible to it, just like other people, right? If you have diabetes, if you have respiratory problems, if you have these other things going on, and in some cases, sometimes, and I've seen this before, where somebody gets something like a hernia, or somebody gets a broken leg, or somebody gets COVID-19, and then when they get taken in, they find out that they have an underlying problem that they didn't even know about. So in some cases, the COVID-19 is allowing people, and I've only heard this a few times, but I have heard it, that them going in because they had COVID-19 helped them discover that they had this problem that they didn't even know. That the reason they're so sick is because they had this other thing. And if it were not for the COVID-19, they would have not known they had this other thing. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm hoping that somebody's going to get crap so they can find out that they have a wart, or they have a heart murmur, or that kind of stuff. I'm just telling you that it's not just when they're young. In most cases, it is not happening. Nothing is happening. They're getting maybe a little bit sick, and then they're getting over it, or they have no symptoms at all. I have one friend who contacted me. We were going to get together, and she said, "Oh, you know what? You probably shouldn't come over because my daughter, who was in her 20s, just got diagnosed with COVID-19. We've been around her. We've been tested. We don't have it, but she has it. And so she's quarantined right now. But we're testing, and we don't have it. And everybody else around her has been, and they don't have it. And there's one of those signs that the thing where they have it, but nothing's coming out. Somebody help me on here. So asystematic, right? And why does that sound so wrong? That sounds wrong. But there's something. Hey, Fitz, nice to see you. Amy already said hi to Amy. All right. And so asystematic. Symptomatic. There we go. Systematic, symptomatic. That there, it's not being passed on. We're seeing that, and especially in kids, right? When kids have it, they're not passed. It's a block. That's what all the studies are finding. And so, but again, the biggest argument that teachers have is that somehow they are not essential, right? Teachers suddenly, well, we're not essential. Police, nurses, doctors, grocery stores, pot attendant at pot stores, the people that work at pot stores, they're essential. Uber drivers apparently are essential. Fast food operators are essential. Who else are essential? But teachers aren't. Teachers suddenly aren't essential, right? These other people that are working in grocery stores or working at pot stores are around people that can pass it on. They're around people that can pass it on, and yet they're still going to work, right? Police officers, firemen, fire personnel. I don't want to say firemen because that's sexist, right? Fire personnel. They come inside people's homes. And as a police officer, I went inside people's homes that had AIDS. I went inside people's homes who had SARS. I went inside people's homes who had all kinds of nasty diseases, right? All kinds of nasty diseases, and had to wrestle with them and fight them. They were naked and bloody. They were sweaty. They were spitting on me, right? I asymptomatic. I don't know why that's so hard for me to say today. But thank you, Amy, for putting that up there. I'm going to put up this because that's what I'm trying to say. That word right there, or that one right there, asymptomatic. And we're all essential, but teachers, no, they're not. And teachers, their biggest argument is because what if the kids pass it on to us and we get sick and we take it home to our 90-year-old grandmother? Well, then if you are of an age where don't go to work. Just don't go to work. We need to put the kids are dying. The kids are being abused. The kids are having other issues. They're committing suicide. They're not learning. They're not having sports where they're able to get out some of their frustration, some of their energy, where they're able to develop their skills for future, right? We're losing a whole generation of children by them not going to school. But because you're afraid that you might catch it, that's your excuse. That's your reason why, because you think the kids might pass it on to you. Well, let's look at what Australia has to say about that. I'm going to bring it back up now. Sorry. I went very far out of the way, and now I'm finally back. I'm back where I wanted to go. The conclusion of this study, and I'm going to go to the second paragraph here. Not that there's anything in the first paragraph. It's just it's the same. It's like the kids should be back in school. But the second paragraph says, our investigation found no evidence of children infecting teachers. I'm going to read that again. That one sentence is the most important sentence. And this isn't the only one. Again, I'm reading Australian. This is New South Wales, I think it is who created this study. And again, I put the link in the comments. So if you want to click on it and read it. The second one, our investigation found no, zero, goose egg, no evidence of children infecting teachers. One secondary case in the child in a high school was presumed to have been infected following some contact with two student cases. The other secondary case was presumed to have been infected by a staff member teacher who was a case. So their investigation found that no. Let's see, there was one other thing on here. Has been very the findings from this detailed investigation are preliminary. However, they do suggest that spread of COVID-19 with NSW, that's the New South Wales schools, has been very limited. SARS-CoV-2 transmission in children in schools appears considerably less than seen for other respiratory viruses, such as influenza. In contrast to influenza, data from both virus and antibody testing to date suggests that children are not the primary drivers of the transmission of SARS-CoV-2 in schools or in the community. This is consistent with data from international studies showing low rates of disease in children. Data from the whole of NSW also demonstrates children aged 19 years and younger represent 4% of all cases of COVID-19, despite being approximately 23% of the population. I don't know what the hell is going on. And they keep talking about they're following the science. You're not following the science. We have science. We have science from all these countries who way ahead of us are showing that the kids need to go back to school. There is more danger in the kids not going back to school. Teachers are not being, children aren't passing on the COVID-19 to the teachers. That study just proves that. Germany proved it. The Netherlands proved that. The Korean studies have proven that. They have also proven that the masks don't work. And testing and research done prior to COVID-19. I gave you that study in a previous show. There were 12 different studies on masks, and they said masks do not work. But if you want to wear one to make yourself feel better, if you think maybe stopping something, if you're sick and it will be stopping something because you got a cough or a sneeze, then maybe you should wear one. If a business wants you to wear one when you come in, then you wear one. The governor of Georgia is right in saying, I'm not going to make it a criminal offense not to wear a mask. Companies and businesses can make a decision whether that you need to have a mask to come inside their business. We are all grown adults. We live in the United States of America. We do not live in Russia. We do not live in China. We do not live in North Korea. We live in the United States of America. If you're afraid to go outside your house, then stay inside your house. If you are compromised, then of course, you quarantine yourself. That's the way that it's supposed to work. But we have a much larger portion of our community that need our children to go back to school. Children need to go back to school. I've shared videos on my personal page. When you see some of these humans that are out there, you do not want them homeschooling their children. I am telling you, it is unfortunate that we have a large number of our community that are unable, including myself, and I'm going to include my there. I am unable to homeschool my kids effectively because I have businesses to run. I'm a good teacher of adults on other things, on law enforcement, on use of force, on dog training. That I can do. But an elementary school teacher, I am not. I have a 6-year-old, a 9-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 26-year-old. The 4 little ones, for me, a single dad who has 4 businesses I'm running right now, and they're barely running. I don't have hardly any income coming in. You are gonna now close the schools for the fall, and now longer I have to go without business. Longer I have to figure out how it is I'm gonna stay home with these kids, 4 of these kids, which are fantastic. I love my kids, and I think I do a fairly good job raising them, and I think I do a good job of feeding them and taking care of them. But I have to also earn a living so I can continue to feed them, so I can keep this roof over their head. That's not the point. The point isn't that if I really put all my effort into it, right, and took online classes and became a teacher and got my teaching credential, I could then homeschool my kids. But that's me. I can't afford that. I have to run a business. Do you not understand? I shared this before. I have 3 people in my life, in my world, in the last 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks, who have lost people in their family to suicide. And 2 of them are small children, young children, not small, young children. That I'm not sure that they would have done that if they did not have the ability to play sports, that they would have the ability to hang out with their good friends, not their bad friends, if they would not have the ability to go into school and interact and socialize, and to be free to walk around without a mask on their face because they don't pass it on, because they don't seem to get sick like everybody else, that they can go out and ride their bicycle, that we could go out and do things together as a family, to go to the beach without worrying, hey, today, can we go to the beach or not go to the beach? Can we go to K1 go-karting? Can we go to, what's the trampoline place? The trampoline place, I forget the name of it, Jump City or whatever it's called. Hey, what's the trampoline place called? I forgot the name of it. My kids are over there. All the places that we go, we can't go. And you got these young kids that are, what are they doing? They're stuck and they're playing video games, and you're trying to find stuff for them to do and do puzzles, and you're running out of things to do. And I'm not saying this because I don't think I'm a bad parent, but you and I, the people that are, we're some of the good parents. Do you know how many people are not good parents? Do you know how many people that do not know how to turn on the computer, and they're sitting there trying to homeschool their kids off a phone? I've showed you videos of people that have no business homeschooling their kid. They can't run their life, much less homeschool their kids. Those are the ones we're going to be stuck with in the prisons and the criminal system. God, I don't know why I couldn't think of that. I'm involved in the criminal system. This is a problem. I don't know what you're thinking, Mr. Newsom, you dimwit, and the rest of you. And the rest of you, my God, you're not following the science. The science says children are hurting. Children are committing suicide. Children are being abused. Children are being molested. Children need to socialize. Children need to be with other children. Children need to be with professional teachers, not LA teachers. LA teachers they're not professional teachers. I have no idea what they are. They need to all be fired. LA teachers need to all be fired. I'm sure there's a couple good ones in there. So I'm sorry for you guys. I'm sorry you're stuck with a bunch of idiots. I'm sorry you're stuck with the leadership that you have in your LA teacher union. It is no wonder that we have Antifa. It is no wonder that we have people pulling statues on top of their heads. It is no wonder they're pulling down the statues of abolitionists, and they're saying that Black Lives Matter. Wait. What? It makes no sense. Why are you not protesting Chicago, New York, who have more black on black crime than any other cities in the nation, or maybe even in most worlds? Minneapolis, Baltimore, Detroit, Seattle, Oregon, what a mess. Or it just like the craziness. The LA teachers are the sign to me that we have the problem. That they are the problem. The teachers that we have teaching these children are the problem. And you're saying go back to school. But LA teachers, I think, are anomaly. I think. Am I wrong? Maybe I could be wrong. I mean, they are some of the dumbest people I've ever seen. I've seen them talk now, and I go, wait a minute, you're a teacher? It is no wonder that they're only 18%. Only 18%. And I know that this sounds very strange. I'm talking about going back to school, and I'm talking about LA. Okay, all the children need to go back to school except for in LA. 18% of the children, only 18% of the children in LA can actually read proficiently. So let's go back to school. Let's fire all the teachers in LA, and maybe any other city that has really bad teachers. But I know for sure LA has some really bad teachers. Either that or just the leadership of the union is bad. Maybe that's it. I maybe that's what the problem is. I'm not sure, but that needs to be fixed. COVID is fake until proven with science, actual science. Well, I wouldn't say COVID-19 is fake. I've never said it's fake. That's not what I've said. And listen to pseudoscience. Yeah, but we flatten the curve, right? Obviously, there's something else going on, and this has nothing to do with COVID-19. Nothing that we're going through in regard to schools. Nothing that we're going through in regard to shutting down our states. Nothing that's going on in regard to shutting down places of worship. Nothing that's going on in regard to shutting down everything except for Home Depot, Albertsons, pot stores. This is, I mean, you really think of the ridiculousness. And this is why I went on that rant about the Democrats, is that when I have friends that are Democrats and they get so crazy on comments and stuff like that, and I go, what happened to you? I mean, where did I go wrong in thinking that you had intelligence? Do you not sit there and think, wow, they lied to us about They lied to us about the president for years. They got us to hate the president so badly that we can't think when somebody brings up his name or somebody's wearing a red hat. We go crazy. Well, you were taught that. You were trained. I'm going to talk about that in my show in the next couple of days. Is that is a learned behavior. You were trained to hate the president. Oh no, he's really horrible. All right, tell me what he did that's so horrible. Tell me the thing. Anybody that's reading this out, tell me what he did that's so horrible. Give me the thing. Well, he's being sued. Okay, if you've never run a business, then shut up, because every business at some point, especially huge business, at some point you get sued by somebody. Always. It's not even a question. If you own a business of substantial size, you will be sued at some point. You will be accused of some horrible thing. What about the people he raped? Really? I don't see him in jail for rape. I don't know where you're getting that. Yeah, but people are accusing him. Yeah, people are accusing. What's the girl's name who is the wife of John Legend? They're saying that she's some type of child molester or something like that. They're saying that. So you guys love her, right? You love John Legend. You love Jimmy Kimmel, who was all in blackface. Everybody loves him. But somebody else that wears blackface that you don't like, they're a horrible, nasty person, white supremacist, racist person. But when Jimmy Kimmel does it, it's okay. Right? When Biden's accused of sexual molestation or rape or some type of sexual attack on somebody, no, we're not. There's no hashtag Me Too. No, it doesn't matter because it's Biden. Biden's okay. He can do that because he's Democrat. Right? At some point, you would think that some of the more intelligent friends that I have, they're Democrat, go, you know what? I don't know why I'm following. I don't know why I'm following these morons like Nancy Pelosi. Have you ever seen Nancy Pelosi have an intelligent thought? No, I have not. Or Adam Schiff, or I could go on. But so, the schools has nothing to do with COVID-19. We all know that, correct? I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. We know this has nothing to do with COVID-19. But people will die. No, the science says that people really are not going to die. They're going to die more likely driving into school and then somebody's going to red light and hit them and kill them on the way to school. They're more likely to die from something else than COVID-19. The children in every study that has been presented in every other country who's already sent children back to school months ago, maybe only even weeks ago, shows that this is not what everybody's trying to tell you that it is. The media's trying to tell you this. And so I am sorry that I came on a show that was kind of unprepared, but it was just simply a text I got from a neighbor who said that Governor Newsom said that private schools and public schools are not allowed to open. I'm not sure if our school falls in, because it's not every county. I live in a county that said they were going to open up when LA County and San Diego said they weren't. So I don't have all the information yet to know for sure if my county is going to be closed, but for most of the counties in California have been directed not to open private schools, which includes Christian schools or faith-based schools and all the other types of private schools, and public schools in California. That was supposedly an announcement at noon today. Totally ridiculous. Not based on science. Absolutely not based on science. And I know you're going, well, you're just a guy that lives in California who trains dogs. What do you know? Well, I've been studying research. I have young kids that I need to go back into school. I've been looking at it. I've been reading. I've been following. I've been asking questions. I've been doing my own research, and I'm telling you, I have not found the science. There's a large number of people who also don't believe that they're following the science. Pediatricians across the United States are saying children need to go back to school. These are scientists that I'm following, that all of them consistently, when asked, would you send your kid back to school? And they have children. They said, yes, I would send my children back to school. Scientific pediatricians across the United States, not just one at some podunk university hospital. Science pediatrician scientists who are saying they would send their children back to school. Countries have done research and showed that once children go back to school, it actually drops. Netherlands, there's a graph, and I have it, but I don't have it handy to show you. Once the kids went back to school, there's an arrow that shows, and then an immediate drop of COVID cases and death in regard to COVID-19. I have that graphic. I'll put it up on a post. Maybe I'll try to find a way to link it to this broadcast. But there you have it. So I don't know what to say. I didn't talk about any of my sponsors like I usually do. I'm sorry. But I should. Here, let me throw them up here really quick. If you want to learn how to do live broadcasting like this one here using StreamYard, go to joinmelive.live, joinmelive.live. Go there right now. I got a basic program that gets you started on going live, doing live broadcasts, keep creating your own show. Go to joinmelive.live, only $4.99. I'm using right now I'm using StreamYard. I do that every time. Go to getstreamyard.live. Go to getstreamyard.live to use this platform that I'm using right now. There's a free version, and then there's two versions after that. There's a basic version and a pro version. I'm using the pro version. I can go live on 8 different locations at the same time. Right now, I'm going live on a bunch of different Facebook pages, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch all at the same time. And then you can have as many as 10 guests, I believe it is. 10 guests can be on the screen at the same time. So use StreamYard. Go to getstreamyard.live. And then Happy Coffee. I'm just going to leave it at that. Happy Coffee is a great coffee. I love it. I wake up in the morning. Again, I told you I have a lot of young kids. I need something to keep me happy, especially on days that can be somewhat difficult. But the Happy Coffee does that. I've also lost about, I think last I looked, I can kind of guess because the gym's closed here in California. But the last time I went to the gym, which was about 5 days ago, I had lost 12 pounds, somewhere in that area. And so it's great. And it's all been happening since I started using the Happy Coffee and another drink that they have called Zest. So go to todayshappycoffee.com. All right. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please share. I've been throttled on how far my broadcasts go. I was getting 12,000 to 15,000 viewers, and now I'm all the way down in the hundreds. So all the social media platforms have throttled my broadcast and its ability to get out there. So please like, share, subscribe. Go to the YouTube channel and subscribe if you can. That would be fantastic. I would appreciate that. And that is it. I appreciate you guys on. If you're watching the replay, please comment and tell me where you're watching from, and whatever. If you don't agree, write that you don't agree, and write some bad crap. I don't care. But I love the comments, and I love the likes and the hearts and the angry faces and that kind of stuff. All right, take care. We'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.